们现在队伍实力其实只发挥了一半都不到吧，大家都是打得不是特别好。
现在的RNG都参与整个 LPL 的公敌，因为全部人都想战胜他们，证明自己。
不要担心我们会变得自满，每个人的内心都很清楚，我们要走的路还很长。
这波有机会，有这个大招弄下来以后，宝石要消失了，路也被杀。这波的话，RNG要打赢了。
他们从 MSI 夺冠回来嘛，他们自信心会比我们高很多，打法什么都会很奔放嘛。
RNG 的韧性已经今非昔比，小小的挫折不可能摧毁我们。
打杯决赛输给了 RNG 嘛，这次我们必定要赢了他们。
我们跟 BLG 都是刚开季还在调整状态，就希望我们这次也能够成功战胜他们。
上次德杯输给他们之后，现在他们不是去北京的主场了，这边现在正大应该也算我们的主场，我希望能在我们的主场赢下他们。
再次回到正港，这个我曾经战斗的地方，我会让观众再一次为我们欢呼，再一次高喊RNG。
Welcome back, everyone. We're now getting into our second matchup of the day, and you might be getting all excited that RNG are back here in Shanghai, but not quite yet. We've got the e-commerce wars coming at you right now. Jingdong versus Suning. The revenge for Suning to try and bring down the team that has beat them twice last split. Of course, you can see Suning looking nice and relaxed as they get into this one. They don't want to come in too hot, as Jingdong are about to bring the fire, try to continue this 2-0 streak. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Dom. Joining me once again, Zach Rusty Pie, and we'll just get right into it because this is going to be a fun matchup between these two teams. It always goes to 3 games. Are we expecting 3 games again today, or are we just going to go for 2 first?
Hard not to, right?
Yeah.
Like, you want these teams to play. You want it to go down to 3 games for sure. Every single time they've played each other, it's been exciting, it's been explosive, and that's something we want to see persist for sure.
And of course, we do have to talk about the relative strengths of these teams to come into this matchup. Suning are no longer playing at full strength. Not only was Jingdong the, I guess, favorites to lead it from their last 2 victories, but now Suning have also lost their star mid laner in Knight.
Yeah, Fen has been manning the helm of the middle lane for the side of Suning Gaming. So Fen, whilst he's been playing well so far, does mean we're unfortunately missing what is the rank 1 Korean solo queue superstar in Knight, someone who has been incredible, running around in Spring Split. And you have to ask, you know, from that point, what gives or what changes to make Suning Gaming still be such a strong team? And for me, we look towards top lane.
Yeah, we'll absolutely have to do that. Xiao Al in the top lane has been putting up some really big numbers for his team. He's still showing up as a strong carry. The question is, can he carry hard enough against a powered-up Jingdong, who just defeated RNG in their home stadium?
Yeah, of course, he's contesting Zoom this time around. But for Xiao Al, 29.8% of his team's damage share. That's the first out of every single top laner in the LPL right now. He is incredible at playing the bruisers, playing the carries, and making that work. And the rest of the stats here, 5th in kill participation. It's only 8th in his league, rather. 8th. He hasn't got a crazy amount of participation with his team. His CS difference isn't that great. What you will notice from Xiao Al, the reason he's got such a high gold difference at 20 minutes is because he's getting kills. Every single time you see him play in that top lane, you know that you're at risk of dying, because he's looking to hunt you down.
Yeah, absolutely a spectacular top laner. Here you can see BLG try to chase him down for the gank. If you look at your minimap, it's all 5 members of Billy that show up, and Xiao Al stands his ground, kills 1, turns it into 2, and then even follows up with a 3rd.
Yeah, incredible stuff from Xiao. Just the individual member, the calmness that he seems to display when he's playing through that top lane. He looks like he's very aligned with himself as to how he wants to play the top lane, and he's working seamlessly with his team in certain picks that he picks towards the composition.
Yeah, of course, their opponents on the other side, Jingdong, they're coming in looking rather strong. Again, they just defeated RNG. They have a chance to chase further up in the standings, try and claim a higher ranking, because right now, we've got to look towards Yagao. He's been stepping up in the mid lane for the team. Last split towards the end, it was Loken who finally started to come into his own, but Yagao has been doing work right now for this team.
Yeah, the thing with Yagao rather is that, you know, he hasn't really shone the brightest through all of the mid laners, or even for just JD as a team. You can see the stats don't do anything justice for what he's actually providing, and right now he's got that 1 key champion, so that's the place we will highlight him first and foremost, is Zoe. He is an incredible Zoe player. He's one of the few that if you give him Zoe, you are at very high risk of losing the game. We saw RNG beat him on the Zoe, but then banned it from him the rest of the series because he was still such a commanding threat. And he hasn't been just playing the Zoe. That's the thing. 7 unique champions played, One of them being a Mordekaiser. He's got the Fizz now, the Assassins. He's got a very deep champion pool that we've seen him run around with on Summoner's Rift. And a lot of this is actually to empower, to support, and to help Clid so that he can make the big plays.
And here you can see Yagao helping to try and keep Clid alive. He's able to get that kill and assassination onto Ming, but ends up getting tracked down in the very end. I believe he just barely escapes. Yeah, the Sleepy Trouble Bubble to continue it out. And here's just what happens when he starts to power up on this Cassiopeia.
Yeah, we mentioned what he did to RNG, or what JD did to RNG. Well, he was a major part of that. Yagao with the Cassiopeia in the middle lane had a big showing, and you can see, of course, the right-hand man in Clid always going to be around. And actually, I'm not going to say he's the right-hand man. They're both just equal parts, I think, in this particular duo.
And it's interesting that we're also seeing Clid now start to step up for Jingdong, because previously it was the Dumpling brothers of Yagao and Zoom in the top lane who really seem to be doing most of the work for Jingdong, with Loken starting to step up, as I mentioned earlier. But now Clid has really approached the 8-11 meta and really pulled the carry pants on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the meta suits him wonderfully. Yagao has proven that he's a very good facilitative mid laner, just as much as he can be as a carry. Zoe, of course, mandatory, but we mentioned this. Their first game was Shyvana Mordekaiser. So they're trying to support Clid. They're trying to empower Clid and give him all of the strength to carry. And so far, it's working wonderfully. And I think a lot of this is because the game's pace has accelerated so much. Early game super important, and Clid has always been a level 2 ganking jungler. He was doing that before junglers were ganking in the current patch at level 2, so he's well versed in what it means to play on this patch.
This was back in the day when Doinby was still on the team, and they were still trying to go for that loud emotional identity that Doinby brought, but now they've really started to find their own identity. It is around Clid, and it is around Yagao in the mid lane. But let's actually get a little bit into win conditions for this matchup, because I think this is something that we need to keep our eye on coming into this. Yagao and Fen in the mid lane. If ever there is a mismatch right now, I mean, outside of Xiao Al and Zoom on the top lane, that's where my attention would go, just because Yagao is putting up such big numbers right now.
Really hard to actually say that it's a mismatch, though. For Fen, he's actually had an outstanding start to this split. For someone who's had to come in, and you'd say it's a substitution for Knight, but remember that he's been with the team before, so the communication, it's all should be there. We explored Fen in particular, and we were like, the Kassadin, that's all he's good for. But now he's got mobility in every champion that he plays, and he's even got the Vladimir to one-hit Uzi now, so I wouldn't call that a mismatch. But what I will say is that for these teams, as we get into the lineups, they're both good early game teams, so it's going to snowball super hard. The question is, can Sinning Gaming close it at mid-game, or can JD get to late game?
Well, we'll see. Perhaps we could just fully embrace that snowball meta. Both of the teams just go hard in the early game, and then we don't get that mid game. We don't get that late game. We've already had 20, 25-minute games today. Maybe we could get some more, but you already said it. Lineups are about to be coming up on your screen for round 3 of the e-commerce wars. Suning, they've been defeated twice by their opponents. Xiao Al, Hacker, Fen, Fury, and Yoon.
They are a strong team right now running around. The 5-man unit's incredible. And of course, their opponents in JD, Zoom, Clid, Yagao, Loken, and Lumao.
And we'll be keeping our eye on JD to see if they continue to maintain their dominance in this matchup against their rivals, or if they find themselves suffering and ending up getting defeated for the first time by Suning.
And so to reiterate the fact, we have strong early game teams in this particular set. They are very good early game teams. Sinning Gaming, I think, are ranked 1 in early game strengths, and that's compared to someone like IG, who averages a 25-minute win time. So they're very good at the 1 to 10 minute marks in these games. Hack is the place that I look at when I look towards Sinning Gaming, and why they're good in the early game. Particularly because he was able to focus Xiao Al. We saw a lot of positives up there. We saw them get kills as a duo, and you're thinking, okay, this is where the new duo is going to be. They're just going to go top lane, they're going to get Xiao Al kills, he's going to carry with his scaling bruises or whatever it is now in the top lane that he chooses to play. But then they played another game where he didn't go top lane at all. Top lane was an island, Xiao Al still carried, and Hacker was still getting kills on the bottom lane. So this is now one of the more diverse junglers that we're seeing running around, and he is doing an abundance of work for his team's early success.
Yeah, he absolutely has, and his performance has been working rather well for his team, though I think it's just about time for us to get into this matchup. As we go, though, we're going to hear some words from Xiao Al, what he thinks on this matchup.
周6就电商大战了，然后上个赛季也没有赢过他们，因为他们没有进入季后赛。相信我们能赢下他们。我们战绩现在是最好的队伍之一，然后 展望的话，就是还是进季后赛吧，就能进季后赛就行了。
Ooh, if all they want to do is enter into playoffs, I've got some bad news for them. They're up against the team who eliminated from playoffs last split. JD were able to get the upset against Suning, deny them entry into playoffs, and they went into the playoff run themselves.
And it feels bad, man, for them. I know that they still feel that burn, ultimately, because Spring Split was a rejuvenating period for Suning Gaming. I had them hyped up because there were a lot of sick young players on the team with a lot of great strategy from the coaching staff. And then they go, run right into JD, and then they felt the fist of Blitzcrank. So Lumao definitely took them down with Loken, so that bottom lane is looking hot.
Yeah, he definitely did feel the fist of Blitzcrank, and it's going to be, could be a similar story, I should say, between JD as well as Suning here today. Because JD, they've been looking decent to start the summer split of the LPL. Suning as well, you heard from the interview earlier, they have an impressive record to start the split too.
Yeah, both of them feel good just because Suning, of course, already having a stunning record. A lot of the individual players doing well for them. The meta suiting Hacker quite well as a carry jungler. But then if you look towards JD Gaming, taking down RNG in their first go of things in Beijing was super cool for them. So it's nice that both of these teams coming into this, I know they're talking about making it to playoffs. With how they're looking so far, they could both do that.
Definitely. We were talking earlier about how, you know, Blitzcrank was picked up by Lumao. He's also the support in the LPL that's played 2 Pyke games. His most played support champion here, Raz. Are we expecting something funky from the bottom lane being thrown Suning's way?
Yeah, it's a fabulous timeline. That's the thing when you get into pick ban. Hell yes. Because with JD, I honestly have no idea what they're going to pick. Because they brought in Home as well, former coach of WE, an incredible coaching stature, with a team that already had incredible flex picks, of course, Home right in front of your face. Incredible compositions that they run immediately. First game they come in towards this, it's Mordekaiser mid lane with Shyvana jungle. So it's incredible that they're going up against Suning, and I wonder if Suning even knows what to expect in this one.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because both teams do play that funnel team composition. We saw them bring it out in the very first match when Jindong were going up against Invictus Gaming. Started Suning recently against RNG. They were able to pick up the Tarek Master Yi composition to try and funnel gold there. It didn't work out for them. Unlike JD, they had a 2-1 victory against RNG. Suning went down 0-2 to RNG.
And that's the thing when it comes to the funneling compositions, that teams are looking for adaptations. Currently there are 3 of them that's really interesting. One of them is just run another gold funneling strategy into it and try to outpush them with a Graves. You saw that one with Team WE. Another one is try to run your dual lane mid lane so you have priority, which is what RNG did just this week. So it's really cool to see a lot of teams just find a different strategy going into this one.
Or if you were watching the OPL earlier today, pick up 3 smites and double funnel onto Karthus as well as a Graves. But we'll have to see what these 2 teams do. The other difference in their strategies is one of them does go towards AD carry focused team compositions. We see that most commonly coming out from the side of from the side of JD. Trying to go towards those AD carries as much as possible. Suning, on the other hand, going towards mages on the bottom side map whenever they can.
I really love the fact that its Fury, when it comes to the mages, I think is adapted phenomenally. A common pick that has gone towards the bottom lane is the Vladimir. And a few teams have had their answers. It's Fury that's gone towards Swain so often into that matchup that JD immediately banded away, knowing that Suning can run it in 3 lanes.
Plays the Swain, plays Vladimir as well. We've even seen Vladimir being flexed into the mid lane, and Swain being picked up as the AD position. Even a Heimerdinger being thrown out by Suning. So who knows what they're going to play here today, but let's run through the bans quickly. Zoe, 100% banned out against Jindong, and 100% banned out by Suning, I should say. We have Camille, Graves hitting the bench as well. For JD, taking away Nocturne, Swain, as well as that Vladimir we were talking about. Talia, Rakan, and Ezreal, first 3 picks from Suning. JD rounded out with a Lucian, Olaf, as well as an Ornn.
2 things I like here from Suning's composition immediately, just 3 picks in. The Talia is interesting, of course it is a jungler primarily, and the picks did come in so you can run Smite in towards it. It won't break the game. Lovely. Now junglers can run it. Also, we have still been seeing going in towards the mid lane, and one of the adaptations that I didn't talk about into the gold funneling strat is to have a mid laner that can still shove in, can take Smite, and can try and contest camps. I saw that in EU. It was Schalke that ran Zoe with Smite in the gold funneling. So that is an option. We'll have to see what JD goes for here. I wonder if Fen would run it, just because he has a fairly limited pool. Last time we saw him, And with Aurelia being the go-to for him, it's still available. And it just comes down to what we see in second phase.
Still available to be picked, but we'll have to see if JD pick it up themselves or if Suning decide to ban it out, because it could still be Fen picking up Taliyah in the mid. Might not be a jungle from Taliyah, might not even be a funnel mid coming out from Suning. Still yet to see the rest of the team compositions, but Fiddlesticks and Morgana were their final bans from the side of Suning. JD decided to take away Darius as well as Aatrox.
Ooh. So, see, okay, there we go. I was going to respect it, because when it comes to Lumao, he wants to go in. 2 supports that he has in his pocket picks, one being Leona, the other one's being Bard. So when it comes to Lumao, you need to look towards what he ends up picking. So that could be Lucian, Leona in the bottom lane, up against what we already know as to be the Ezreal and Rakan. Fantastic matchup. Looks like JD is going to be looking towards bottom lane.
I mean, Lumao likes playing the champions like Rakan. We've seen him play 2 games of Pyke already, even a game of Thresh. This will be his 2nd game of Leona in the summer split of the LPL. So curious to see how that bottom lane is going to pan out. Should be Loken picking up the Lucian to pair up with the Leona pick in the bottom lane. Singe is going to be the top lane pick that comes out from Suning. Xiao runs around the Rift, I was going to say, and it causes havoc whenever he picks up that champion, with Irelia being the final pick for Suning, heading into the mid lane for Fen.
So already the compositions are completely what we would expect. It's Hacker with an early game jungler, the Taliyah. It's Fen with Aurelia, and he's been phenomenal, which is why I've been wondering if teams would want to ban it, but it looks like that's just, they'll give it to him. And it's JD that's prioritizing their bottom lane heavily. Ooh. So much. And so now we get to see Yogao on the LeBlanc pick to see if he gets that mid lane priority so he can help them out on the bot side.
His 8th unique pick in the summer split. LeBlanc gets thrown into the mid lane trying to go up against Irelia. I mean, Irelia's already been so dominant in that mid lane. Doesn't feel like LeBlanc's going to be able to move the needle so much.
Won't really. I think it's just going to be a gank setup. That's the one thing I'm looking towards, because Olaf can run her down. It just depends on how Aurelia's doing in the lane. I will say, to start this one out, Aurelia does have a lot of wave control that she has in the matchup. And LeBlanc, if she does trade, she trades through the wave. So I would expect JD to be pushing this one out. We're going to have to see how this lane goes out. For me, focus is going to be on the jungle.
We'll have to keep track of that jungle, because Taliyah being thrown back into it by Suning, Olaf being picked up by the side of JD. Even eyes on the bottom lane. We already talked about how Suning, they're more likely to go towards mages on the bottom side of the map, especially with Fury running the Vladimir as well, swaying quite frequently. The only AD carry he's played this split is Kennen. That's an unorthodox AD carry, that's unless you're reckless. But this time picking up Ezreal, going into the Lucian matchup in the bottom lane against a Leona of all champions.
Just wants the flexibility in the bottom side of the map. The thing that Suning has had this split is they don't prioritize their bottom lane in any way. They want their bottom lane to remain safe until the mid game. And so Rakan and Ezreal does just that. Safety, healing, shielding, and of course the ability to jump out of any danger.
I mean, there's a lot of different lanes we can take a look at here, Raz. I mean, if it's top lane, Xiao going up against Zoom, that's a big matchup we'll have to talk about during the game itself. The picks and bans are being fairly standard from these two teams. Nothing too unorthodox as far as the current meta goes, I should say. AD carries being thrown in the bottom lane, standard junglers, no funnel compositions coming out from either side. And it's a grudge match, a rivalry between 2 of the biggest e-commerce brands in China. Suning going up against Jingdong. We already said how JD, they've been victorious so many times. Suning looking to try and pick up a victory, looking to try and get revenge. Revenge for them being knocked out of playoffs last split. Let's get on to the Rift. Game number 1. Alright, I already said it yesterday, Raz. Someone needs to make sure that Jingdong's manager is not allowed to eat the microphone.
He's a hero. He can do whatever he wants in this stage.
He can stand close to it, but I disagree with eating the microphone itself.
Maybe he's hungry.
But both teams here playing at the Super Brand Mall here in Shanghai. Yes, JD will be moving to Beijing later on in the split. Will be hometown rivals against RNG, who have already set up their stadium there. RNG flying all the way down here to Shanghai to play in the 3rd match of today. That's coming up after this set between SNG as well as JD. Taking a look at a couple of the keystone runes being picked up. Conqueror in the mid lane for Irelia Predator, as expected, being picked up by Clip. Press the attack in the bottom lane for Loken. Meteor Storm Stormers, I was going to say. That's not the right one. Electrocute coming out for Yagao in the mid lane.
And I want to hit on the Electrocute point, but for Hacker in particular, just because you're right about the earlier point, no gold funneling here in this game that we would expect, but it's actually just the opposite what we would expect in the last split between both of these junglers. Hacker and Clid, known for their early game jungling, early game pressure that they would have. What I love about Taliyah jungle, we haven't gotten to see it because of the earlier ban that's been lifted on Smite Taliyah, is that she looks towards ganks so heavily. She has such high damage early on with the repeated Qs that if she ends up going into a lane, that's great, that's fantastic. If she ends up finding Clid, that also works very well in her favor. The only problem is that Olaf does so well with just one kill. So just one mistake that you look towards, he can just snowball immediately off that. So I want to see what JDG could do to help support Clid in the early game.
But he has to find that kill first. Clid, he's already done a top side clear of his entire red side of the jungle. Didn't take Scuttle Crab, however. Hacker's already working on that. He's gone back to base, moving down towards the blue side of the map. Hacker going straight towards the top side. Xiao already has a good push in against Zoom. Difficult to gank this on, but might still look for it.
Yeah, it should be really good for Clid. Immediately, Hacker tells that no Krugs. So really well done from Clid to clear out topside completely, because if you look to his lane, both Yagao and Zoom are going to get pushed in here, at least for the first few levels. So he just committed robbery, took his camps, got the hell out of there before Taliyah even checked up on him. So well done, he's going to be on the bottom side of the map. Hacker will know that, will have that information, but will not be able to respond to it.
He immediately pinged out that he was going to move down towards that side of the map. Clid picks up Scuttle Crab for himself on the bottom side close to the dragon, goes over towards the blue buff. Meanwhile, Xiao during this time has gone for a bit of proxy farming, keeping Zoom locked in underneath his own turret. Sinch is going to take this time to go back to base, pick up a couple of items for himself.
And that's the one response you can get down. Remember saying that Hacker can't do much about it. At the very least, Xiao can be annoying as hell. Topside, say, all right, there's no one going to respond to my pressure. I'm just going to get last few minions before I end up basing for free. Not even going to use teleport in the top side of the map. So Xiao's feeling really comfortable getting the next, let's say, ring for himself.
Taking his time, making sure that although Zoom has the advantage of being able to build items in this lane, he can go back, continue to proxy farm. It makes sense as they knew that Olaf was on the bottom side. But goes back to lane, and it's been fairly quiet in the early game between these two teams.
Which is good news for JDG. Clid doesn't want to see Hacker at all until he's ready for it. They just want farm so Irelia can get her Sheen and Phage and start really looking for skirmishing. Well, that's Suning Gaming. But on the side of JDG, you want at least Clid to get to level 5, level 6 in particular. Once he hits level 6, he can start challenging Hackers a little bit more. Right now, he doesn't have the ability to challenge Hacker's range. Once he hits 6, he can run her down.
So is the onus then on Hacker to try and start something nice and early for sitting on that aggressive early game jungler? Try and take it to JD very early and try and create an advantage for sitting? Because it seems like both teams are comfortable sitting back and relaxing for now, Raz.
Hacker does need to. I'd say the first thing he wanted to do was to be able to invade on Clid, find him. That hasn't been the case. He hasn't been able to find him because of the earlier proper pathing. That being said, Clid's mind is right on Xiao.
Yeah, he's been able to find Xiao, doesn't get the undertow back. Instead, Xiao's going to flash forward, fling Olaf backwards, and is able to escape. Summon a spell blown on the top side of the map.
There you go. Good job from Clid. Burning Flash on the Singed means that he can make a return if Singed ever finds himself in the same position, and that will respond into a kill.
If he does, however, Xiao could potentially play a little bit safer. So Funfun's was Yagao still trading this mid lane. Seems like Irelia wants to go back to base. Only Yagao running teleport in this matchup. Funfun has picked up Ignite. So needs to look for an opportunity to head back to base. If not, Yagao will just teleport straight back in and keep him locked in underneath the turret. But Funfun, nice CS lead for himself, about 10 CS ahead. Hacker gets called into the mid lane, going to help him out with this shove.
And that's the benefit, of course, of having Taliyah. You mentioned the fact that no TP on Fen needs to be more mindful of his base timing. So having the help of Hacker makes it a lot easier for him. But their mentality was to be able to pressure mid lane, have the stronger 2v2 with the Ignite Irelia and Taliyah. And Taliyah hasn't been able to get much job done because hasn't been able to find Clid at all. That's number one. Number two, hasn't been able to get a proper gank opportunity. There was one, but Yagao timed it properly, so it would have been, or at least Hacker was envisioned in which it was happening. Clid might get a gank here.
He's looking for it, and it's going to be Lumao that initiates first, locking down Rakam, but incredibly mobile. Just jumps straight back towards his turret.
That's what you'd expect from the pre-planning of Suning Gaming. I already mentioned it in pick ban of Ezreal and Rakan, so easy to get out of these situations, so it must be incredibly frustrating for Lumao. Lumao just can't deal with it. You try to engage, but what are you going to do?
Ezreal incredibly immobile, so is Rakan, especially when he can jump to his AD carry for safety. Lumao having a hard time locking down either of these two champions, even with Clid waiting for a gank. But it's going fairly even in the bottom lane. It's actually been a very passive game between Suning as well as JD.
It's just hard for them. I would say it's hard for both teams to find a mode of attack. Suning Gaming, even though I mentioned the early game should be in a position in which FLICKR should find a gank, JDG's top side has been very patient with themselves. Meanwhile, JDG's bottom side has wanted to be active. We already talked about the drafting issue of it. So if there's going to be action on the map, it's going to be Fen and FLICKR looking for either a dive in the bottom side of the map or to pressure on LeBlanc on mid lane tower.
Well, it seems like Clid's going to try and put some pressure on the top side of the map. Zune throws out the ultimate as well, but can't headbutt the ramp backwards. Good use of the goo coming out from Xiao. Now Ragnarok forced to be used by Clid. Very low. Flash forward goes FLICKR, not in time to catch Clid as he's able to flash away. Gank doesn't go well for the top lane, but Fen looking for a kill and he gets it! Solo kill against Yagao in the mid lane.
Another one to the highlight reel for Fen. His Aurelia has been so strong in the first few weeks of the LPL, and that one was just sick.
But Suning are not done yet, Raz. They're trying to keep Zoom locked in underneath this top lane turret. Half hit points available, still has flash. But FLICKR still full on hit points. Let's get the flick back. Teleport's going to come into the top lane. Xiao is taking this turret. No, it's going to be FLICKR. Takes way too much time. Zoom! Already got one with that turret. Loken jumps in for the second. Fen wants to try and get one for himself. Flashes forward, goes in. Who is Knight? I've never heard of him. Fen is taking the wheel for Suning.
It's my team now. That's exactly what he's saying. That was so sick. Once again from Fen, making up for what was his team's mistake in the top side of the map. FLICKR and Xiao tried so hard. They should have just stopped the moment the flick failed coming in from FLICKR, so they didn't. They both died, but at least Fen now is running with 2 kills this game.
2 kills picked up on a mid lane Aurelia. We talked about him picking up the Ignite, helped him out in that solo kill against Yagao, rotating towards the top lane to assist Suning in what was already a botched dive, giving Xiao a little bit of a lead, pushing Zoom even further behind, but he's been playing so well, Raz. The summer split of the LPLs looked good for Fen, and he jumped in for Knight, who was having contract issues for the side of Suning.
Yeah, and honestly, there's only really been tape on this man on Aurelia. So let's just take a look at this, because this was before the top lane play. Catches him with the stun, gets another Q off because he not only got the W, but also the ulti. So really well played from Fen, only answered by a well played kill on the top side of the map as well.
I mean, he even got all the minions at the end. Fen gets ganked by Clid, but he doesn't care because Rakan's here. Rakan forces the Ragnarok coming out from Clid. And it's something we compliment JD all the time. This mid lane jungle synergy between Clid as well as Yagao, we've seen absolutely none of it this game so far.
Yeah, getting pushed around. Yagao losing out in the mid lane 1v1, you would never expect that to happen, especially between Fen. And you wouldn't expect Clid to be using his ultimate, his Ragnarok, defensively twice this game, and it's only 10 minutes in. So right now they're definitely falling behind. And it's only a miracle that the top side happened for Zoom. The fact that Zoom played that out so well in that dive situation, or else it would have been lights out 10 minutes into the game.
Well, we said that Suning had to be the proactive team. We're looking towards FLICKR to be the man that did just that, but it came mostly from Fen, picking up 2 kills and actually saving FLICKR after he missed his flick backwards and they still decided to dive in the top lane. JD said they could sit back and scale, especially when Clid hits the level 6, level 7 mark. He's had Ragnarok, as he said, used it defensively twice, but what are they going to look for now? Because they've hit that spike, they've hit those levels, but they haven't been able to get anything for them just yet. To see if Zoom actually does get dove here, because Suning gonna look for it again. On, throws out the ultimate, dodges away from the flick, throws it back. Is FLICKR gonna fall? Zoom gets a nice big shield, but still at 2-on-1. Suning get the kill.
Yeah, FLICKR just out of tower range, so the third shot didn't come through to keep him alive. You asked the question, I think Yagao and Clid just have to keep Fen down. Try and place wards topside, so at the very least they can protect Zoom. That was what I was about to say, but they didn't even need Fen to make the play happen. It was very close, but Zoom couldn't protect himself this time.
Seems like a difficult task to keep Fen locked down. Trinity Force already complete for Aurelia.
My god.
Yagao's just looking at a lost chapter, Raz.
he can't do anything in the lane anymore. That's the thing with the Assassins, especially LeBlanc here. After the change went through, if you have kill pressure, excellent. If you don't, good luck. Good luck. You need the jungle's help, and Clid has been needing help. Who are they going to get help from? That's my answer to you. That's my question to you.
To me?
Yes.
Oh, man. I don't know at this point, Raz. It's going to take a miracle and a half to try and help with that Aurelia in the mid lane.
I think they need to kick a router.
Take a what?
Kick a router.
Kick a router?
That's my
no.
response.
Raz, you're not meant to say those words around here.
Uh-oh.
Have you seen the pauses that happened last week? We don't want that to happen again.
Look.
So that was you?
They solved it, okay?
Yes, but was that you? Did you kick the routers, Raz?
I kicked all the routers.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry it had to come out in this way.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in for Razzleplasm's last cast here in the LPL. There's going to be an investigation after this match, I feel.
Did you see the quality of those games? I did them a favor.
What?
Every single time I see a Mundo or an Aatrox, that game is done.
I don't know what you're talking about. I was watching SOFM.
Uh-oh.
Get funnel farm. That man's a monster. Funfun actually trying to get locked down in this mid lane. Yagao chunks him out. Tries to use the Defiant Dance, but it's not going to be working out for him. JD do successfully take down that Aurelia.
There we go. That was a natural bait. Funfun thought he had his team coming through, but ultimately, Clid comes in faster. That's what you need to do. In fact, Clid didn't even have to blow his flash for that one, so they might be coming back.
Well, they do keep him locked down. So they get a kill in that mid lane, brings them back about 300-400 gold. It's about 1,500 gold in Suning's advantage. Suning, however, during this time were able to pick up a Rift Herald for themselves. So even though JD were able to lock down Aurelia, what do they have to do to try and get an advantage or get back into the match? Because they're just getting small bits of gold for the kill, but that's about it.
You're right. For me, it comes down to it to be decided. A lot of teams fail when it comes to responding to a Herald push. Some teams try to trade. You don't want to trade to a Herald ever. You want to defend a Herald properly. Currently, they don't have the ability to defend the Herald with a LeBlanc sitting mid. She needs to find a proper back timing with the fact that she has no mana. She could still technically TP, but even then she would need Clid, she would need Loken, maybe Mao. You need multiple members to push that back. Okay.
But they could only afford a few members to push it back there, Raz. They do get the kill, but that's about it. Hacker's going to be able to pick up the Rift Herald. Now he's working on picking up Mountain Dragon. Clid is waiting nearby. Could potentially try and stop Hacker from taking this. Even throws out the Predator. The Hacker's still working on this Dragon. Funfun's going to rotate down as well. Level 10 is the mid lane Aurelia. Clid waiting to see if he can go for a Smite Steal. Wants to jump in. He gets it! Clid's going to be able to steal the Mountain Dragon away from Suning.
That was a max range D if I've ever seen one. The man just came in, smite, got the hell out of there. I thought he was going to at least commit an E. Didn't do that at all.
No, just a D from downtown, Raz. Is that what you're trying to tell me? Two chains, however, in this top lane as Xiao's been locked down. Crowd control on crowd control on crowd control. JD pick up another kill.
Excellent alley-oop, but it seems like another one's coming through.
They're trying to lock down that bottom lane. Loken in trouble. Ignite is ticking. Fury gets that kill. Limao has a ton of resistances, but still forced to flash away.
And the one time JDGs do something incredible in the top side of the map, something worse happens bottom side. Suning Gaming not only take the kill bottom, but they have a Rift Herald to place immediately afterwards. They might be taking the inner bottom lane tower after.
Let's see what they decide to do here, because there's still a lot of time with that Rift Herald. Only about half of the half of the passive portion has expired. So Hacker is not going to use it in that bottom lane. So they're going to recall, pick up a few more items to decide which lane to drop it down in later.
He should have definitely used it. I think he's greeting for a mid lane one. That was your best chance because you recognize the kill means that they're going to take some time to come back to the lane. Lucian wasn't going to be there for that, unless it be TP, but even then, that's even worse. So they would have gotten an assured push on this one. They're just really focused on a mid lane use on that. It was just poor. I think a lot of people will look at that and say, well, they want proper base timing, but what are they going to actually lose? Dragon's already been taken. Topside Rift Herald's not there, and they take way too damn long to get back onto the map. So that's my first real criticism to Suning Gaming here.
Well, Rift Herald is slowly running out, but it seems like Suning are going to park a couple of their members in the mid lane. Xiao got another push going on the top side of the map, keeping Zoom locked in underneath that turret. And his teleport is not back up just yet. Yagao and Loken's is, however, and they're trying to defend against a mid lane push.
And they should be able to. Right now, look towards Ezreal. Ezreal's clearing out bottom side of the map. He's even used his ultimate, so he's trying his hardest to push this one out quickly so he can go mid and help out with the Talia push. It's going to take some time.
Yeah, Funfun's going to go back to base as well, it seems. No, it does cancel it.
Wait a second.
However, Wick is going to try and collapse on towards Clear. Teleport is coming in from the side of JD to try and stop this fight. Throws out the ultimate. Xiao trying to join as well, but Fun gets obliterated by JD. Xiao trying to run away. They want to chase the Singe, but they're taking damage doing so. Zoom gonna flash forward, throws out a couple of pillars, tries to breathe fire and get the knock up, but not gonna connect. Meanwhile, Fury being locked down by Yagao. Undertow, flash forward, Ragnarok strikes from the sky. Picks up a kill there. JD able to turn around the gank from Fun, picking up 3 kills.
3 members dead. That is the second time Fen has been baited into a solo kill. He tried his hardest for this one, and he's losing out. Mid lane tower down when Suning were trying to set up for their own play. This is just a disaster here for Suning Gaming.
They tried to set up, Raz, but they went aggressive against the jungle champion. You know what? Where's Rift Herald?
Yep. Where is it?
It's gone.
Where is it, Fish? It almost seems like Suning Gaming greeded out in every single level. Not only with their Rift Herald push the way they should have had it bottom lane, but also Fen thinking he had a one-on-one on Clid. Lu Mao with the Galaxy Brain was like, this is gonna happen. I'll bring a few members with myself, and immediately, not only do they get the kill on Fen, but Yagao comes in hot to get the kill on Talia, and also set up for an Ezreal. Where did the Ezreal come by? Trying to figure that one. Oh, he was trying to help out with a Q. Yeah, not gonna happen.
Yagao even allows Clid to jump in to get the final execute there.
2 kills.
So JD turning around that little brawl or skirmish coming out from Suning means that now they're only 1,000 gold behind Suning. Just 18 minutes into the match, and more crucially, a lot of the kills went over to Yagao. He's 2-1-2 now. That LeBlanc, after one-shotting Hacker with 1 spell rotation and almost doing the same to Fury, should well and truly be online.
Yeah, 5 minutes ago he was irrelevant. Now he comes back into this. He has Luden's Echo, 2 kills to his name. And so now he's going to be able to pressure a side lane. Might not be able to take Fen in a 1-on-1. It's not going to happen. But he should be able to now be a legitimate threat to the enemy champions.
Fen's still very strong, has that Trinity Force, but doesn't matter too much if you're the brunt of the crowd control and all the focus to start a fight. However, Xiao is the focus from Zoom here. Throws out the ultimate, does get the lockdown, and Lumao follows through. Chain CCing the Singe. You can't say chase Singe if he doesn't move, Raz. They get another pick in the bottom lane.
Yeah, he had his hands off his keyboard the entire time. If you're looking at the camera, don't. I'm not lying, I swear. But he might as well, because that was just excellently played from Lu Mao. So it's nice to see that JDG are at the very least just trying to be as skirmishing as possible. Knowing that even with Yagao's advantage, you're like, yeah, well, we'll use him for at least skirmishes and team fights. It didn't happen there, but that's what we should expect with the pick.
And if you could lock down one person from the side of Suning, the target that you would choose to do so could be Xiao, or should be Xiao most of the time. He's 31% of his team's damage share so far in the summer split of the LPL. And on top of that, Fury, Fen, Hacker, and Xiao Ao have the exact same gold share, hovering between 20 and 22% per game. It's only Yoon, the support, that doesn't get an equal gold share in the match, so if he's picking up the same amount of gold as everyone else but does more damage, locking him down could be a decent strategy. Is a Singe still relevant? But JD are making his life miserable at the moment. They're setting up for a gank in the mid lane, it seems. Or at least trying to stop this turret push coming out from Suning. Loken's there to defend the turrets.
Currently it's a battle towards the next Elder Dragon, or at least the next Mountain Dragon. Second Mountain Dragon for JDG if they can get it, and Suning Gaming want a mid lane push so they can look for it. Now I was initially wondering if they just want to siege that mid lane and try and trade, but that's a decision they still can make. But they're pretty settled where they are right now.
Mountain Dragon has respawned. It's 20 minutes into the match as well. So Baron is there if either team wants to look towards that major objective. But both teams have their eyes focused on this mid lane push. Suning have cleared out the wards that JD put down. JD did have the Scuttle Crab, however. So they have some vision there. They see that Suning are going to start up this Elemental Dragon. Clid wants to jump in using the Predator, but it's going to be Suning to try to reinitiate, looking for Lumao, but there's so much armor on this Leona! Lumao is not dead, he was Gucci for a while, but now he finally falls! JD looking for the return in the team fight. Fun going low, trying to dash away. Yagao not able to deal with him just yet, but outsmarts the stun, still picks up the kill, a 2-for-1 trade.
And ultimately, you can just see how squishy Hacker is. Talia is incredible in the early game, but the moment the lanes are down, the moment you're challenged with actual team fighting is when you realize how fragile you truly are. Clid ran a train into him.
Especially when the focus coming out from Suning was going on towards Lumao. I mean, it's a Leona, Raz. with a couple of items picked up.
Yep.
That W should be fully maxed at this point in the game with Aftershock. There's no way you're killing her this early, that quickly.
They thought they would be able to, and remember this. Just one Leona caught out. If you have the CC, you would expect at least a good chunk of damage with Fury, Fen, and Hacker. But the problem was, obviously just isn't enough with the resistance she had with her W, so they ran into her. They got about 50% HP, and even though she died, take a look at how much damage they placed on all of the sitting game players just for that one trade.
Turns out to be a trade that goes in favor of JD once again. Only losing one of their members. Fen again looking for the fight. Was able to get a good decent amount of damage, but got caught out at on the back half of that fight using his own stopwatch. I mean, even Fury popping his own stopwatch there as well. Yakao. Ooh.
Wow.
Missed a couple of abilities, but Xiao still health bar drops down to half.
He has the double magic penetration on his side, just from the boots and the Morellonomicon alone, so he is doing a lot of damage. One thing that I'll look towards is JDG, the fact that they took the dragon, second mountain dragon, and they have the Blade of the Rune King on Loken. They can actually viably look towards Baron really early on, so Suning Gaming have to really cater towards the vision top side. Hacker is inching towards it so he can play safe ones, but that's the problem. Very difficult for him.
But there is a fight in the mid lane. Loken taking quite a bit of damage. Teleport being channeled, coming out from Yakao to try and join the fight, but gets cancelled. Sinning use that push to try and take that mid lane out, and they get it for themselves. 3 turrets to 2 in favor of Sinning.
There we go. Makes it easier now. Before Hacker was having a struggling time using the wave to make himself inch towards the Baron side to actually place proper wards. Now they can actually push mid lane to do that. So it's going to be a lot easier for Suning Gaming to play defensively here.
Still dead even here, Raz. Suning, JD, 23 minutes into the match. 40,000 gold to both these teams. Small turret advantage for Suning, but a large kill lead in favor of JD. 2 Mountain Dragons even being picked up. So even though they have that push in the mid lane now, they have to be careful. Because it's the Blade of the Ruin King, Black Cleaver Lucian being picked up. 2 Mountain Dragons, the Baron could fall fairly quickly. Is that what we're going to see next? A fight around the Baron pit, because these two teams, they had a very quiet start to the match, very quiet laning phase, but it's just been brawl heavy ever since.
It should. And the fact that Zoom is in the top side of the map means that they're in a great position to tank Baron if that becomes a case where they try and rush it. Look how deep they're actually going into this. So you can tell that they've been really working on the vision control with Coach Home. Blue side jungle is really difficult for Suning, and the harder you push in for control in the blue side jungle, the more of a buffer time you have at rushing it. Suning Gaming should recognize that, and so now using Ezreal ulti. Okay, ooh, they see it.
They delayed the start, Raz, but they end up starting it anyway. JD have full vision control around the Baron pit. A couple wards being placed down by Yoon. JD are going to retreat and trying to sweep out as many as they can.
This makes it difficult for Xiao because he made the cross-country run from bottom lane to top lane to be able to help his team out. But the wave is not in his favor in the bottom side of the map. So ultimately, they're on a timer. I wonder how long that's going to be to see if Suning Gaming can actually contest this.
Xiao did drop the banner of commands on that bottom lane.
That's good, excellent.
So Zoom's now going to have to try and head down to that bottom side of the map and deal with that. Has his own banner of command and has teleport available if he needs to join the fight. Does mean that Suning get this time to take away as many wards as possible. Scuttle Crab is still there. So JD still have vision without it being swept away by Suning for some time.
Ultimately, that was just good resources there for Suning Gaming. They still not in position for skirmishing. I would say Hacker needs some HP underneath them, so I would say a Rylai's Crystal Scepter for some utility and team fights as well. We'll have to see what he'd end up turning into. Most people would just say either Zhonya's or Rabadon's Death Cap. That's the best thing about AP building is that once you get into your third item, you can do a lot to both get an offensive element to your skirmishing, but also real defense. So Zhonya is obviously, we already said the HP that you can get a Rylai's. Not Rabadon's, that's just pure offense, so there's nothing about that one. I would say Banshee's Veil is a nice one as well. It's been helping a lot of AP marksmen. So we'll see what he can get for the third item.
Yeah, someone like Kai'Sa could pick it up from time to time, but hasn't been seen too frequently. The side of Yakao, still waiting to see what his next few items are going to be. He was fairly strong after being shut down very early by Fen, especially from the solo kill we saw very early into the match. Fury has his Trinity Force and has his mirror mana complete as well. Picking up a lost chapter for himself. See what he's going to pick up later on. QSS is going to be the pickup coming out from Loken. Suning trying to lock down Zoom. Stun's going to come through, but not too much damage done to this tank just yet. Retreats towards the turret. Decides he's going to re-initiate for the team. Getting on top of Funfun. Clear trying to separate the side of the map, but he's caught out by the rest of the members from Suning, pushing him away from this fight. Both teams look for the initiation, but neither team gets what they want.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, Xiao still wanted to go in there. He's still going to try and jump in. Yakao jumping over the wall for a bit of damage, but that's all he gets. Gets chunked back as he tries to return through his distortion.
Yeah, excellent return down. So that just means Suning Gaming can stay on the map a little longer and start clearing it out. Look at the 3 control wars that they have on Fan, Fury, and Hacker as we go into a pause.
Raz.
They're already in the motion of doing so.
Did you kick the router?
I apologize. This time around, I take no blame. All right, I'm just sorry. I apologize because I was Canadian. There's no Mundo or Aatrox, so why would I kick the router this time? I like these compositions.
I don't know what you're talking about. You were just saying that you would kick the router.
If I see those 2 champions.
And now we've gone into a pause.
Maybe someone else is a copycat. Maybe I've revealed
Are
my
you saying
plans.
you're being framed?
Yes. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Don't know what to believe from you anymore, Raz.
Look, I've been honest up until this point.
You've been honest up until this point.
Uh-oh.
So now you're telling me that what you just told me was a lie. Which you did not kick the router.
I'm leaving the future open to a lie. All right?
You're leaving the future open. So you're telling me you will lie to me in the future, Raz.
But I'm being honest about possibly lying in the future.
That makes absolutely no sense.
It makes sense to me and everyone in Twitch chat.
No! Please press 1 if you disagree.
And press 2 if you hate fish.
What?
What are you going to press now, everyone?
1. There are many options, Raz.
The best thing about Twitch chat is you can press both 1 and 2, so I think we both messed up there.
Yeah, so now Twitch chat's just going to be 12.
Oh my god. Well, that's not 1 or 2, that's just a combination of the both. Anyways, let's get back to the game
1
here.
plus 2 is 3.
So, Suning Gaming, they had a lot of pressure. A lot of chunking. Excellent. Wonderful. I will say one thing I actually dislike about what's happening, Suning, and no one has realized, is the fact that Fury hasn't built a 2nd tier just yet.
No.
So he's at least got one of the recipes done, 26 minutes into the game, and he hasn't even started stacking his 2nd tier.
So what's his last chapter for? Is that the, you know, Banshee's Veil you're talking about for AP marksman?
Look, he's getting the tier maybe 30 minutes into the game, and that really makes me worried. What does he foresee in the future? Hopefully it's not a 40 to 50 minute game.
I mean, it takes about 8 minutes, I believe, to stack up a tier.
Yeah.
On average.
But with how these skirmishes are happening, it feels like this game could end in 5 minutes. Especially the fact that Suning Gaming are already pressuring around Baron, and they have the assumption that at least LeBlanc is going to base. She got chunked pretty heavily in one of the skirmishes when she was trying to look for damage. So that's how easy this game can go, how quickly this game can go. But I still don't believe LeBlanc is going to base because she's really only there for 1 rotation of spells on an Ezreal.
That's it.
So JDG will probably stick around. We'll have to see about that as I bet my... Well, I'm not betting anything. I'm just saying that they're going to stick around.
You can't say you're going to bet something and say you're not going to bet it anymore. Come on, Rats.
I have a conscience, all right? My conscience took a step in and said, hey, hold on now. You've already lost a few bets already. You don't want to lose anything else.
I don't understand anymore. You said you were lying to me, now you're not. Now you're telling me you're going to make a bet, now you're not.
I'm an honest man.
Are you wearing flip-flops? Because I can't
check
quite make
myself.
up your mind at the moment.
I have excellent shoes, thank you for asking.
Flip-flops. That's what you have.
Hell no.
What do we expect next from these two teams? Because it has been all about setting up around the Baron. We saw Suning take control first. Xiao pushed up bottom lane so that JD able to take control back. Sorry, other way around.
I will say that JDG, I'm more comfortable with their team fighting, mostly around Loken's Lucian and the Leona engage. Remember, looking at Suning Gaming's lineup, the 2 champions that are very difficult right now to play in team fights are primarily Singed and Talia. Talia, for an obvious reason, we've already seen her die immediately in a lot of these engages because there are a lot of rush down champions. The Leona we've already talked about, the Olaf that's running train into her. But primarily with Sin, she doesn't have the tankiness right now. He has a Spectral's Cowl, that's fine, versus the few AP dealers. But he's already gone into a few of these skirmishes and he's just fallen through.
But he's got bees, Raz. I mean, you can never count him out if he's got bees.
He's got the element of fear, that's true. I'd be afraid to touch him.
Everyone hates Singe, Raz. As a champion that we see BLG constantly pick up, commonly banned out against their top laner, Amazing J, who we'll see later on today, going up against RNG.
He's just an annoying champion.
He is very annoying. I mean, he can do a lot of things, especially with the chaotic meta. He was well known for his proxy farming. We saw that from Xiao Ao.
Yep.
Helps take away some pressure from one side of the map, which is helpful when everyone's picking up brawlers and fighting very early into the game.
And he creates a very awkward element in these team fights where he's just a pure pick potential bot. Because even if a Singe is incredibly far behind, it doesn't matter if you're 0-3, 0-4, 0-10. All you need to do is flick a primary target. And if you're a squishy champion, if you're going straight AP, which he's not, then you just need to be going at a flank, find the AD carry, flick him in, and get the hell out of there. So all eyes on Xiao Ao for a comeback potential. The game is not too far out. It's literally only 700 gold. But with compositionally, it's just they're put in a fragile position.
Yeah. Seems like Suning they were able to get those picks very early. A lot of it was from Fen Fen being so aggressive in that mid lane. Xiao created the diversion, and he's 0-3-3 now. Was punished quite heavily by JD. Cliv made multiple return ganks into his lane whenever he started split pushing, especially when he started proxy farming as well. But that advantage Suning got from the early picks, it's now gone because JD were able to scale up, and it seems like their team fighting is just so much better.
Yeah, and if you're an EU LCS fan, and you recently watched the Roccat game, where Memento had, 6 early kills, but the game didn't matter because skirmishing and how you coordinate in team fights are ultimately what matters. Sure, they won the game at the end, but it was really tough, and it feels like that's going to be the same case between Sinning Gaming and JDG.
Yep.
Because JDG's team fights pretty tough. They're pushing the limit here around Baron, so it doesn't matter how strong Fen Fen was early on in the game, you need to play well.
JD as well, Sinning going for a bit of a skirmish. Ragnarok being forced again, probably the 4th time we've seen in this match alone.
He didn't have to use it. I would say that he would be afraid of it if he got picked off or at least chipped down, but he has a Warmogs. He was going to get out of there safely, and he was going to be able to heal back up, so he doesn't even need to base.
Xiao's now going to be the one that looks for the initiation. Zoom forced to charge away. Lumel gets caught out but has a ton of armor. Yun going to try and jump in, gets a good stun. Ygal looking for the kill, gets one to Xiao Ao. Fen Fen charging into the back lines. Lumel in some trouble. Ignite is sticking, but he falls. Just the support from the side of JD, and it's a reoccurring trend, a worrying trend at that for Sinning. That's the only person they can kill.
Yep. And Fen Fen went wild to do it. I'm just surprised that Hacker was still alive throughout all of it. Remember, look, Clid and Yagao. I think they're trying to go for a flank here, but Suning has already cleared out, so there's not much that they can clear out here. So you can see how difficult a lot of these team fights are shaping up.
Baron.
Okay, here we go.
There's a good night. Bedtime for Yun. He goes to sleep. Yagao finds another pick for himself. 6-1 and 3. He got angry, Raz.
He did.
Fen Fen got a solo kill. He wasn't having any of it. Any of it. Hacker now being locked down. Fury going to try and jump forward. Did he predict correctly? He does!
Oh!
Fury from downtown gets the shutdown, but it doesn't matter. JD, they pick up Baron.
All right, that was a long auto attack. I'm just sad about that one. He tried his hardest to get out of there. You know, Yagao was feeling himself, but at the very least, you're right. He bought enough time for them to get Baron. Yagao has gone off since the early game.
It was that fight to start things off. Clip didn't get the regeneration, doesn't have 3,000 hit points yet, but it still looks good for JD.
And take a look at Yagao here. Comes in for the assassination on towards Xiao Ao. That's how precarious they are in a lot of these skirmishes. So when you fight in such a slim corridor like that, you're really begging to get knocked up by Zoom with his ultimate. Ornhorn came in hot. And then immediately you get Mao is super easy in terms of being able to get a proper stun in that corridor. So it was just a poor position to pick a fight in, and Suning Gaming paid the price.
Seems to be the only person that Suning can actually get a pick against, which is Lumel. But we already talked about how tanky this man is. Zeke's even being picked up. Can I help out Loken dish out a bit more damage? Loken not even going for the Essence Reaver pickup on Lucian. It's going to be Blade of the Ruin King, Black Cleaver, followed by Rapid Fire Cannon. QSS was already complete for Lucian. Oops, missed it. Hit a three of the minions, but left the rest up there.
I like Essence Reaver with your, I would say against tankier compositions, because the way you want to open up fights, throw your ulti out, and then you'll find the benefits of the Essence Reaver once you're going through constant rotations of your dash. So that's if you have a pretty thick wall that you want to go up against. This is a pretty slim composition going up if you are Loken. So there's no reason for Loken to go up against, pick up an Essence Reaver versus this composition.
We'll have to see what he builds next. Had that QSS for a bit, could upgrade it, could go for another item. JD splitting apart the map. Yagao hiding inside the red side of Suning's jungle. Zoom split pushing in the bottom lane, the other three rotating between mid lane and top lane. We saw the True Shot Barrage come out from Fury earlier, only clipped the wave on the top side of the map, now throws another one and thin it once more. So that's going to be the next target from JD. Moving towards that top side, looking for the final inner turret that's left on Suning's side of the map.
And JD have so many proper control wards on the top side. Actually, before we even talk about that, Fen.
He's just having a bit of a dance. He's okay.
He's trying to brag here. That's what he's doing.
What is he? How is
he's good on Aurelia?
Okay. He's just pressing his Q on minions, Raz.
When there are 3 people around him, I'm a little worried.
You obviously have not played enough against Aurelius. They're as bad as Yasuo's, Raz. They will just do it anyway. And JD going to try and take down this top lane inner turret. Super melee minion is going to continue auto-attacking, and they get that. Now pushing towards the base. Still 30 seconds of Baron buff to work with.
And there's no vision from Suning Gaming to catch JD come from one lane to the next. So they can actually just continuously push mid lane. Oh, okay.
That's the second inhibitor turret taken down. Mid lane inhibitor turret gets taken down. Zoom. It's going to be a slip push to get the bottom one. 20 seconds of Baron remaining, but they look for a fight. Ornhorn gets thrown out. They flashed into it from the sky. The sun comes down and Yud gets locked down as well. Hacker going to be locked in underneath his own turret. That Sonya's not going to help him out too much. Fen gets another kill for himself. Will be able to take down Yagao, but JD, they get 2. Now they're marching towards the Nexus.
This has just been a beautiful game from Zoom. Great flank to be able to get 2 members, knock up Ezreal, immediate follow-up from Mao. That's what we want to see from this team. It's still going to be a little bit harder for them. I don't think they want to end it here.
Oh, they get the inhibitor as. It did look like Suning wanted to go for a little bit of a fight, but JD don't take it. Forget what they came for, back out, head home, pick up a couple of items, and retreat with a nice lead for themselves. 7,500 gold ahead of Suning.
This game has definitely gone way in JD's favor, mostly in the team fights. Talk about how Yagao's been performing individually. Same for Clid. So I'd say the top 3 members from this team being Yagao, Clid, Zoom. The follow-ups have been fantastic from Lumao, but ultimately Zoom's early game pressure, he's been taking a lot of ganks in the top side. He was able to absorb so much, in fact take 2 kills off of fail dive from Suning Gaming, and then a lot of his engages from that point has been spot on. So Ornn has been one of the champions that I would like to put in the router kicking list, but he takes skill. He takes real skill. He does.
How does Aatrox not take real skill?
Is that a real question?
Yes. He's a bruiser.
He takes skill up until the point he gets Rage Blade. And suddenly every auto attack is just incredible. Oh, okay, that's nice. That's beautiful.
They didn't brush their teeth. Yagao's not happy.
He definitely looks like a teeth-brushing fairy.
His name is Toothpaste, so you better be.
Yep.
Gets the red buff, steals it away from Fury. It's double banner of command being used on the final lane that has an inhibitor turret left. They try to collapse onto Fen, flashes away, but Zoom throwing out the ultimate. Whoa! Gets the 3 members in the back line. Xiao trying to run forward. Fury finally joining the fight, but Yagao is here. Jumps on top of Ezreal, dashes back away. JD's still looking for this. Lumao going forward, trades his life for Cinch. Fen, Guardian Edge are going to get him to respawn, but he's in the mix of 4 members of JD. Double kill being picked up by Loken. They're now marching towards the base, or what's remaining of it, against Suning.
It doesn't matter that Fury and Xiao are still alive. Everyone is still up in terms of Loken, Yagao. They can deal the damage. This should be endgame here for JD.
JD, they've been able to take down Suning time and time again in the spring split, and they've done it in first match of this best of 3 against them in summer. Suning, the curse could continue here as.
Still have a few more games to go, assuming that it comes down to a 3rd one. I will say though, JDG came down with force. Team fighting was the name of the game here. We don't get a lot of team fights this meta with how quick it can end, but JD consistently force around these neutral objectives and force Suning out of lanes in towards the pits. Pits that JDG just keep coming out ahead in.
They also have a ton of tenacity, Rez. JD are able to sit back and allow JD to play out, allow Suning to play out the early game and fight back once their power spikes come online. That's kind of what we saw in this match. 21 minutes in is where the gold swung back in JD's favor.
I'll definitely say that Yagao has very strong mentality. I know it's very hard to envision victory when you're that far behind in an Aurelia matchup as a LeBlanc. Even going topside, getting a kill for himself on towards Orin, but then, of course, Suning Gaming getting an even larger advantage bottom lane. So one of those positions where I felt like this team, this player, Yagao, was super good rebounding.
He was. And we often say that Yagao is the man that sets his team up for success, the man that makes sure that his team, you know, is set up to carry almost. He's not really the carry player himself, but from time to time, he does what he did in this match. He gets solo killed once, he gets angry, and then carries the game for his team almost.
Yeah, makes me afraid going into game 2, what he can play there, because he talked about the unique champions he's been playing through.
Ooh,
they banned his Zoe in game 1. Wonder if they leave that one open just because of how well he performed in this one.
Well, Suning banned Zoe 100% of the time, so let's send it back to our analysts to see if they think that Zoe's going to always be banned out as well.
Yes. Yeah. Probably.
I hope so, to be honest with you.
So let's get into this JD win here. Taking the win against Suning, proving once again that they are at least superior in this very first game. Yeah. Hopefully, we'll get to the picks and bans in just a minute for the next game, but let's actually get into picks and bans for this current game because the LeBlanc final pick turned a lot of heads. You and I were kind of talking a little bit on the desk about how this LeBlanc would fit and how it would effectively be utilized in this composition because we were talking about AP that could fill in. You mentioned Karma and Lulu, but LeBlanc into Aurelia, and then he also gives up First Blood with it. How was this supposed to work?
LeBlanc is something that really got me thinking because they needed magic damage for the composition to be able to scale, and JD were the kind of team that, against Suning historically, they want to get a little bit later, you know, find the team fight. So they needed magic damage, which is where the Karma and Lulu suggestions came from, simply because they are guaranteed magic damage that have been played in the mid lane lately as something more than, you know, your traditional mages are being seen. So he was gone. So we come into this, LeBlanc is picked. And the real reason I think for picking LeBlanc, and we've actually seen this done in the LCK, I believe, as well, LeBlanc into Talia. It was Talia support in that case. This is now a Talia jungle. Talia as a champion is incredibly fragile. You very rarely get the opportunity to build resistances, especially as a jungler, with a lack of resources compared to that of a mid laner. You get a little bit less experience perhaps as well if you're not completely snowballing your opponents out. And that's the weird thing, you know, because they were snowballing JD. They did have the early game leads and it was looking good for them. But Yagao found a way back in, and when the LeBlanc is fed, it doesn't matter how big you are as in Talia. You're going to die, team.
Yeah, absolutely. Though that being said, it was a bit of a rocky start in that early game. The laning phase didn't exactly work out in his favor, though he did try to set up for it. Fen was popping off on that Aurelia. Masterful performance, just not quite able to lock down the victory there. But I think it did start with a very clear-cut strategy from Suning in trying to do this. They tried to defend their top lane, have Zoom hold pressure against the early Talia so that Yagao could build up into the mid lane. It didn't work out that way. We got to see the very early gank top out of FLICKR to try and upset that matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. So the thing you look at here is when Clit goes top lane, Xiaoel, look at the puddle he places down, prevents the Ornn to follow up. And so they find a very nice little counterplay here from Suning Gaming. And meanwhile, while this happens in the mid lane, the dynamics of the LeBlanc against the Aurelia is that if you hit the stun, you can win the fight. But it is so hard to hit that stun when LeBlanc is incredibly mobile. But you can see here, the one opportunity that he finds, LeBlanc is a fragile champion, regardless of that mobility. Very well done from Fen. He then goes top lane, gets another kill for himself as well. And you're like, all right, this is it. This is the beginning of Suning Gaming in the early game. And the one play you don't expect to carry is incredibly fed early. Lights out, but of course not the case.
Yeah, it's actually almost funny because it was JD who were able to hold on throughout that mid game, which traditionally has been a bit of a weak point for them. We've got that fight in front of the Dragon that just shows the sort of chaos in which the LeBlanc was able to survive. They found their target. They were focusing down FLICKR on that Talia, as you mentioned. Clid runs in, chucks the axe, and then Yagao also follows up to destroy it. They do end up losing their Leona on the way out of this, but this is still Ding Dong seemingly identifying their targets correctly and just picking Suning apart.
And it was still a 2-for-1 trade in the end in favor of JD at this objective-based fight. And that's another thing that JD were doing very well, is they were forcing at objectives. They were bringing Suning Gaming to them.
Yeah.
Their composition's actually really good at sieging, really good with advantages, and they're good at poking people down. But you can't necessarily just take the flat 5v5, especially against an Aurelia that had an 11-minute Triforce. So they cause chaos, they create chaos, they get vision control, and they catch people out of position to give a number advantage. JD can then run over the rest of the fights. And we speak towards, you know, Clid actually being a part of that, and I do have to take a second to commend him as well, because he did play super strongly through the jungle position with Yagao, the dynamic duo that we spoke about before the set that needed to show up.
Yeah, he was able to set up vision for his team over the past week or two. It mostly has been about Clid being the primary carry, watching Yagao set up to support that, but Yagao was able to really rear his head in this matchup, and as a result of that, Clid actually taking the support role, he'll still get the MVP for this because he was able to set up that vision. He was 4-0-9 at the end of the game, and again, he propelled his team in such a way that it was easy for Yagao and Zoom to look good.
Not dying as Olaf is impressive, first of all, so you've got to give him some credit for that, being the Ragnarok wanting to go forwards. He still gets out with his life, stole some Drakes with just the smite steals as well, and was always hitting the correct target at the correct time, I think, towards the dive in mid lane. Throws the undertow, flashes, knowing how much damage he'll deal to secure it. It was a good showing from Clid. It was a good showing from Yagao. And a lot of this, to me, was still captured through the essence of their team fighting late game, which was their top laner in Zoom. He was the man that really hit it home for them. And I'm a little bit upset that it wasn't Yagao that was MVP. I personally also would have had Zoom as secondary, but Clid still deserved it.
Absolutely. And again, that final fight that we saw, there were so many fights similar to this where the call of the Forge God came down and was so clutch. Fen, he tries to get a little antsy, but boom, the 3-man knockup. It's an easy setup for Loken and Yagao to start dishing damage after that.
Yeah, and then the follow-up, of course, preventing the Rakan dash towards his allies with the ultimate on. So very clean stuff here from Zoom on the Ornn. This is just one example of the many fights that he had where the ultimate was connecting, predicting flashes even with that one, securing his team, the team fights to get the wins.
Yeah, a very excellent performance out of Jingdong to close out that game one. That said, this is still a best of 3. Let's find out if Suning can bring it back or if it's going to be a quick 2-0. We're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
相信这支年轻气盛的京东，相信过程。